Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever we're at. What's up? What's up? Good morning, Jen.
Hey.
What's going on, killer?
You know, the usual.
I heard that, man. I heard that. So we should probably welcome everybody to the Jen and Molly show. What up? What up? You can talk. You can say something.
So we were going to go live yesterday when we realized that I guess most people weren't really working. So this is going to be the daily. It's a little early for us, or at least for me. So bear with me here as I'm drinking my first cup of coffee.
I heard that. I'm trying to get this camera to like work the way that I want it to, and it's like not really trying to work the way I want it to. Oh, there we go. Boom. Hey. Yeah, I had to switch this around so that our graphics made sense. Damn it. Our graphics do not make sense. You know, things don't always work the way that we want them to here at Hardcast Media. Damn it.
Wait,
there
which one's?
Go.
Oh.
Boom. Boom. Gang, gang, gang. All right, it was very important.
Did you do a layover?
Yeah, I got it right now. Our names are right, so we're in there. We're in there.
Do the hard things first. That's what we're going to talk about this morning. I mean, at the end of the day, I wake up, have a to-do list, and a little overwhelming. I don't know about you. Sometimes I'm like, what should I accomplish first today?
See, I don't really have that problem. My problem is consistently making the to-do list, because that like keeps me on track because my mind is racing. So it's like when I do write a to-do list in my Influencer Collective book, I look at it like 17 times. You know what I mean? Like, so even though I've written it down, I still have to keep going back and be like, oh yeah, I got to do that. I got to do that. I got to do that. And if I don't do that, there's so many little details that just like slip through the cracks, you know? But I don't know. I've just been giving a lot of thought. And I know that like New Year's passed and whatever. But yesterday was like the 1-year anniversary of like some super traumatic shit that happened to me last year. And it just really made me think about like, you know, what's happened in the last year, you know, what I went through, what that motivated me to do. And I was, you know, having a couple conversations over the last few days with people. And like in this process in the last year, I had some medical complications, and at one point I was tested for cancer. And, you know, of course you have to wait like the 2 weeks to find out if you're gonna die or not. And it's just like all these questions go through your mind, like, do I have 6 months to live? Do I have, you know, I don't feel like I'm dying. Do I want to die? Maybe I want to die. I don't know what I want the outcome to be. And those are just some heavy ass questions, and it just really made me do an inventory of my life and realize that like, yo, if I'm not willing to die this way, then I'm not willing to live this way either. And that was a really big wake-up call, you know? And it kind of took being like, you know, if you have 6 months to live, would you change the way you're living right now? And the answer was absolutely, like, without question. I wasn't going to, like, if I really only had 6 more months to live, I wasn't going to keep doing the shit that I was doing. And it just made me realize, well, fuck, why do you have to have a death sentence to realize that that's not what you want to be doing? And it was, like, such a huge eye-opener for me. And it was really important, you know? It really changed, like, how I move and stuff. And so I just realized, you know, I'm just kind of doing a little inventory of, you know, my life yesterday and just thinking about, you know, the changes I've made. And one of the biggest changes is, well, obviously Heartcast Media and pivoting from One Love Massive, but then also just like, you know, reading a lot more books, absorbing a lot more information, like listening to people who are smarter than me. And I finished a book this weekend, the 10X Theory or whatever it is with Grant Cardone, right? And I listen to all my Audible books, like, as you know, at like 1.45, so it can be a little bit intense. Certain people are like kind of more annoying than others.
It's so fast.
Grant Cardone is one of them. It's like, holy fucking shit, man. Like, he is so fast. It's really obnoxious, honestly. But like at the same time, it's like, you know, one of the things that he said that I really found impactful was that, oh, I'm going to start a watch party. Boom, boom. One of the things that I found impactful that he said is like, you know, not just do the hard things first, but like, oh, sorry about that. Not just doing the hard things first, but like embracing fear and embracing discomfort. And so that just really like resonated with me. And so I've been thinking a lot about like, what does that actually mean, right? Like he was saying that like anytime that you feel a little bit of fear, you should like run towards it. And anytime that you're feeling discomfort, that means it's an opportunity to grow. And so like, you know, he was like, the thing that separates me is I just face the hard things first. He's like, if you have a client that, you know, you're going to disappoint, you know, or something's going on or somebody you're avoiding or your boss, like just do it. Pick up the phone, do it first thing in the morning and get it done and move on. And he's like, because what happens is usually those hard things turn into better opportunities and they're not as bad as you think. But if you like tackle them head on, you can like control that narrative. And it just really, you know, it just made me think. And then the other thing that he said is that like, you know, you always want to create new problems. Like, always try to create new problems. And it was just so interesting because, like, when I do things and it creates new problems for me, that tends to stress me out. I'm like, fuck, it's more things I got to deal with. And he's like, no, this is an opportunity to, like, learn and grow and adapt and figure out some new shit and figure out some new methods. And so it's just really been resonating with me, you know, like, over the weekend and over the holiday and just really, like, examining, like, do I do the hard things first? Like, am I really being the best that I can? Am I embracing fear? Am I embracing discomfort? And I'm not sure what the answer is, but it really just made me think about, you know, time and time management and scheduling and doing what matters. And so I don't know, you know, I know that's a lot. I know we didn't really prepare for this topic this morning.
Quite frankly, I'm coming in pretty cold here, but it's okay. I like it. I like the direction you're taking it. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you know, we have these Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk out there who are really like preaching obviously all good stuff, but it's really what you do with that information.
Right.
And I think that's even what Gary Vaynerchuk said. It's like, here's literally like the formula, how you're going to do it. And I think it's just waking up with intention. You always said this and really like about like, that's what your podcast is focused on is, you know, the idea of waking up with purpose. Like what gets me up in the morning.
Right.
Mondays are a hard day always for me. I'm like, what am I doing with my week? Like, I have no, like, they're just hard, you know, because I'm like, what is the game plan for this week? What am I doing? But like,
well, especially because you're not taking breaks on weekends. Like Monday is
that's
just
the thing. It's just a day. It's another day. Because I was even talking to my business coach about it. I was like, listen, like Monday's just another day. I was up. You know, I mean, we were working throughout the weekend. There's just no, and that's the thing. It's like, it's not, you know, the hustle 24/7. It's not like that. It's just our lifestyle is working, but it's not working. It's just our lifestyle.
Right.
And I think the thing is that it's really hard. It's hard for a lot of people to understand. And I think the whole thing with the Grant Cardone thing is, you know, there's a lot of people who kind of listen to all that stuff, but it's like really practicing what he's preaching and like, it's just nice to kind of hear that. It's like self-talk, but it's just someone else telling you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it's like, you know that shit in your mind, but then you're like, yo, like, and part of that is like what's manifesting us being here at 9:15 in the morning, you know, or 9:29, whatever it is, you know, like, you know, we decided this weekend that we're going to get up and do this every morning, like while people are going to work. And that's going to hold us accountable. And for anybody who's listening right now, like we're going to do this every weekday at 8:30. That's our goal. So we're already an hour late on our first one, but whatever, man, we're here. But like, I just feel like, you know, like he mentioned this one particular thing, like how he wanted to spend more time with his wife. And so they sat down and they mapped it out. And they're like, well, in order for us to spend any time alone together, it's going to have to be at night. But our daughter is always up at night. So what they agreed to do was like wake up an hour earlier every day, get the daughter out of bed, get her up earlier. So that way it would be guaranteed that she would be in bed by 9 o'clock. So they had to shift and do some different things and like sacrifice some of their morning. But then in return, they got like time together without interruptions from a kid at night. And so it's just like a simple little thing, but it just really made me think about, you know, and all these people that I'm like reading and listening to, like they're all telling like the same thing. Like you have to schedule time for the things that matter. Like you have to like block out, you know. And so like I showed you my list the other day, like you have to put on like, okay, Mondays from 9 to 10 or 9 to 11 is when I work on the lower third. And this day from this time, and then I block that out. And if I'm not doing anything but that, then like...
And being in control of that too and not letting anyone else like necessarily come into that time. That's the one thing is that that's that time. This is, 8 to 9. Of course, there's flexibility if there was something where it's like very, very serious. But at the end of the day, we're in control of our own schedule and you need to stick to that because if you don't, like, it's all about intentionality, honestly. That's what it comes down to in commitment.
For sure.
I mean, it's very easy to achieve goals that way.
Totally. And it's like missed opportunities. It's like, maybe there's only 2 people watching right now. Maybe it's just us. But, like, hey, man, it'll lead to more. It'll keep us on track. Like, it'll present really great opportunities in the future. But, like, you have to do that shit, you know?
have to, I mean, everyone starts from 0.
Right.
You have to go from, it doesn't just happen. It's not happening overnight. I do this with my clients all the time. I say, one of my biggest goals with anything with clients is building communities.
Right.
Building communities takes time if you're going to do it authentically. Not buying 20,000 followers from Russia. It's actually, growing your community to 20,000 people of engaged listeners and people. I mean, but that takes time. I mean, I know my page can use some more engagement, but it was a cobweb for probably like 4 months.
Yeah. I mean, me too. It's like there's so many things in my life that I'm not maximizing on and really like pushing to my full potential, and it's easy just to get caught up in the noise, it just really is. And then it's easy to default to like less productive behavior. Like last night I had this whole idea I was going to like walk to the store. I did all this stuff. And then I like came home and I was going to set up podcast 201 and I was going to set some ads and do all that. And I bought a bottle of wine and I sat down and I set up 201 and I drank like half a bottle of wine. And then my body locked up and I got really tired and I went on the couch and I passed out hard for 2 hours. And I was like, you know what?
But that's fine.
I must have needed that. But now that means today I have to work even harder. That means today those like 2-3 hours of work that I was going to do last night, like have to get done today in between like this already super complicated, busy day. But if I want to succeed, if I want to hit those goals,
Yeah.
And so it just really made me think, like, do the hard things first. So, like, maybe when we're writing our to-do list, we need to categorize them as, like, first write down all the shit that we really don't want to do, but we know we have to.
110%.
And put that at the top of the list. And maybe even have, like, a little accountability gang. Like, yo, okay, I knocked off 2 of those things, like, first
You have to
first.
have the accountability stuff. I mean, even just waking up, that's, like, with this, it's, like, setting our intentions. You have to have, especially as a solo entrepreneur, you have to have your accountability people. Because then you wake up and you already, accomplish something, and then it's just, you can keep going from there. But I think listening to your body, that's a big thing. A lot of people say the word hustle. I don't like the word hustle. I don't like it. Grind. No. I mean, just working smart is the best thing that you can do.
Right.
If you are, I mean, last night I did, been building out my marketing database, and I know I needed to do it. I got off a great call with my business coach. It's like, I'm going to start doing this. But at the end of the day, it's like, listen to your body. Like, you don't need to if you don't have your mental health, you don't have anything. Right. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
And that's a hard balance too. You know what I mean? Like, like I wanted to start like a therapy challenge at one point. Like, I just want to normalize therapy. Like, who went to therapy this week?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just because I think everybody needs therapy and it shouldn't be so taboo. But then, like, you go to therapy and then afterwards you don't want to do anything because you're kind of drained.
It's Jenn time after therapy, honestly. Because, I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
You're drained.
You're super drained. And then that's when we like lean towards like picking up that bottle of wine or bottle of bourbon on the way home, which is probably like the worst thing we should do. We should probably like run or meditate at that point.
But it's okay to also just like be like, fine, that's like you're just not working the rest of or you're not working for a couple hours. Like that's what my part is. I love to go and then I just walk after, I'll walk back here and that's like an hour. I think walking for me is the best thing I can do. That's what I do in the morning, except for today because I was late. But $10 on Uber. I didn't even do a shared wine. I mean, I was like,
shit.
It was like, bang bang. But my point is I think the walk. It's like that's my thing. The walking. That's my time.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that because like I gotta carry my bag and I just can't carry my bag and walk. But like every chance I get to walk, I'm doing it. Like I have a doctor's appointment this morning. I'm gonna try to walk there because I don't have to bring my laptop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just kind of thinking about all those things. And I have to say, like, it's been a crazy year. It's really just like, I know New Year's is a big one for people, but yesterday was like way bigger for me than New Year's because I made so many changes, and I'm proud of myself for making all those changes. Like, I'm excited about where I'm at. The universe has provided me with a lot of wonderful things, like having a friend like you and a business work wife, right? To like, be on the same page. And I was just thinking about like how grateful I am for that last night. Like friends, you know, like I have a lot of friends, I guess, but it's just different. You know what I mean? It's just different to like meet people who are really in tune. And so I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for every bit of pain that I went through last year. I'm grateful for every tear that I cried, because like if I hadn't have felt all that, you know, it wouldn't have gotten me to the point of just being like, no, fuck this. Like I want a life that's worth living, you know, that is on my terms. And if I have to work 16 hours a day to get that life, I'm fucking ready for it.
100%.
Like, I got no problem with that.
And having goal, I mean, that's the whole thing, is having purpose. I mean, quite frankly, I don't remember like that. My 2018 flew by in regards to like I was just moving, and now beginning of this year has just been completely different. You know, it's just been completely different, and that's what's so like really fun about life, right? And growing. And then, you know, you don't see someone and they're like, wow, like, Jen, you're very different than you were like 6 months ago. I'm like, keep up.
Yeah, get it together, man. I'm over here. Like I said to you, I'm like, you see that in front of you? That's me looking back, waving. What's up? Yeah, I mean,
keep up,
and it feels so good, you know. I mean, it's like Saturday night or Sunday night, whatever, Sunday night, but it's like a holiday weekend, so it was like our Saturday night, and I was at home, and I was just like, meh. And then you were like, you want to come over and work? I have a whiteboard, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm on my way. And like, it's just so funny how like your priorities change. I was like hyped to come over there and like whiteboard some shit out. You know what I mean? Like hyped about that. I was like, yeah, I was all excited, like getting dressed, and like I was like, this is ridiculous, but I love it. Like I'm so into it, you know? And like we really mapped a lot of shit out, and I feel a lot more organized, like ready for this week and to hit my goals and to do what I need to do.
So you need to know what you're gonna do. You need to know what you're going after, because then you're just kind of going, and I've been there, and it worked out like temporarily, and then you know things kind of stop working out necessarily that way, and you're like, oh, okay, back to zero,
right? And, you know, sometimes I think that, like, I mean, there's a lot of evidence in, like, different books and stuff that I've been reading, you know. It's easy to default to the easy things and to, like, the busy work and, like, I'll just organize my kitchen counter instead.
I just Marie Kondo my whole house.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I got nothing else to Marie Kondo. Like, I can't avoid my fucking work anymore, but I'm unrolling my underwear every morning like fucking pro. You know what I mean?
For, like, last 2 days.
You know?
And then it's, like, back to the, you know, normal.
So I've been pretty consistent with my Marie Kondo. I've maintained it.
I have not Marie Kondoed one thing, honestly.
Oh man, you got to get it together, lady.
It makes my brain hurt to like to organize that way.
Oh man, see, that's where me and you are different. I'm like, yes, I light some incense and shit. I put on my fucking like meditation, like fucking bowl music and shit. Bowl music somewhere. There's
I just need to have someone come and Marie Kondo my place. Like I don't want to do it myself.
I'll pay someone to organize.
Yeah,
like, you pay me, I'll come roll your fucking underwear, man.
Totally.
Like I'm in there.
Done.
Socks, underwear, shirts, pants. I got it all.
I'm the type of person. It's like, you know what? This is something I enjoy to do. I'd rather pay for it when I can get there. You know.
You're so funny.
That's what Task Rabbits are for.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Task Rabbit, come over here and roll my underwear, you peasant. That's terrible. Yeah. So. And then the other thing I was listening to this book on the way over because, you know, I read this article this week and it was this guy like saying that like sometimes reading can be a waste of time. And like one of the things that I've garnered is that like I've listened to a lot of Tom Bilyeu interviews, as you know, the Impact Theory, where he interviews all these people. And I mean, there's like 70 some interviews of like really highly successful people. And I've listened to pretty much all of them, right? And they all have like three things in common. Like number one, they all meditate. And they all meditate slightly different, right? Some meditate like with guided meditation, some do it in a car. Some right, everybody has their own like
in the car with their eyes closed.
Well, like maybe like someone else is driving, but you know what I'm saying? But like so everybody meditates differently. Some people don't close their eyes. Some people like chant, some people count, some people whatever. Like there's really no way, like no right one set way. And then the other thing that they all have in common is like positive self-talk, you know? Like that's literally what separates people from who succeeds and who doesn't. Like they did tests with Navy SEALs because all these guys were passing these physical tests. And so they could tell by putting people through these tests, like who could be a SEAL. But the group that was at the end, they were trying to figure out what was the characteristic, right? Like they could separate them by these physical tests, but they couldn't separate then figure out what was the mentality and the mindset. Like what was the common characteristic between all these people? Because they would be different heights, different shapes, different strength levels, but they would all pass the test. So they spent a bunch of money to figure out like, what is that? You know, like what is that? And it boiled down to positive self-talk. Like straight up. The guys that were like jumping out of the plane who were like, I'll see you on the other side, you know, they passed. And the guys that were like, I don't know, man, it looks a little fucking tall, you know what I mean? Like, you sure? You know, those are the guys who failed. And it literally came down to like people who are convinced that they will succeed and have positive self-talk and don't say shit like, I'll never be loved, or
don't
this
play the
always
victim.
happens to me.
You know, they don't have time. They also don't have the time. Like, our military have no time for like playing the victim.
Especially
you know what I'm
in
saying?
the SEALs,
yeah.
right? You gotta like jump into like the fucking ocean and shit, like Deadliest Catch style. I don't know. I'm going off of movies, clearly, but. And then the third thing they all have in common is they read. And so a lot of them, like there's this saying, they say leaders are readers. They say that all the time. Leaders are readers. Leaders are readers. Like Bill Gates reads, Warren Buffett reads. They say like the average, I listened to a stat, the average like successful business person reads over 60 books and goes to 6 conferences a year, you know, and then people who don't read are less successful because it's just like so much knowledge available. And sometimes you only, you know, it might be one thing in that book that's really good, but like, you know, maybe you disagree with the rest.
Can I listen to the book?
Yeah, you can listen to it. You don't have to read. It's all about like listening. Like it's all about getting that information.
It's just getting the information.
Right? And then disseminating like what out of it you want and what you don't want, you know? And then some of it isn't even about wanting it. It's about just like thinking analytically about it, right? Like And so like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates apparently go on like reading vacations. They read like over 300 books a year, which is mind boggling to me. And I'm like, well, fuck, if Warren Buffett has time to read a book a fucking week or more, that's more.
I would say then next week we'll do a live book review.
I'm with it.
Meditation also. We'll do a live meditation as well.
Hey.
I think Headspace or whatever, they do like live like meditation stuff too.
I tried to do that.
I like
and then
his
I got
voice.
like a couple steps into it, and then they're like, "Okay, now you got to pay." And I was like, "Oh, I got to pay for enlightenment? Like,
it's
fuck
actually
you."
Like,
you
it's
know?
actually kind of expensive. It's like $10 a month.
Yeah, and I'm kind of over this this $4 a month, $8 a month, $10
because that
a month,
all adds
$12
up.
a month. Yeah, that's a couple hundred a year.
And then people are like, well, I don't have cable anymore. I'm not doing cable. I was like, okay, you're not doing cable, but you have like 10 subscriptions to like Netflix, YouTube's. Like, you know, that just equals cable, but like totally you're saving money.
And then not to mention if you have a business and then you're paying for all these other subscriptions like Opinion Stage and fucking Rafflecopter and well, no, Canva's my shit. But,
I know, same, but I'm saying
still,
that's $13
like, there's a lot of
month.
them, like Adobe, fucking Stamps.com, MailChimp, like it's bananas.
Truebill, Truebill was successful. Shout out to Truebill if you want to sponsor this.
Yeah, we should hit them up and be like, Truebill, you've saved our lives.
Truebill actually successfully canceled my Union Metrics account.
Nice. Truebill, I tried to get them to cancel 2 of mine, they didn't, but I just did it myself.
I'm a little nervous about the smart savings feature, like, I don't know, cybersecurity these days.
Yeah. I mean, you're not putting like $1 million a week in, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'm sure it's protected on some level. You know what I mean?
But like, I love Truebill.
I'm a fan. Yeah. And then they just announced that they have budgeting now, so you can put your budget in and then like work around that. So shout out to Truebill.
Shout out to Truebill.
In case you guys are wondering, Truebill is like an app that you can download and it like tracks all your spending and it tells you what a fucking irresponsible heathen you are.
Yeah,
basically.
That was fun that one night. I think we should probably do that like every quarter, just go through.
I mean, honestly, like once a month there should be a day where we go in and reconcile all of our like FreshBooks, QuickBooks, Truebill, all those things and label those like transactions so we don't have to sit here for 5 hours again.
That was a year worth of stuff.
It was.
That was a hefty evening, you know.
Yeah, there's nothing like more sobering than like seeing your liquor store tally for the whole year. You're like, fuck.
Or food and entertainment. I was like, food and entertainment. I'm like, excuse me,
like,
what?
There's no way I spent 13 grand on fucking that.
Yeah, I was like, in what world is that okay to spend that much money on dining and entertainment? Business expenses, like nah, like that's not.
And then grocery store was like 200.
Yeah, I was like,
straight up.
I was like, there's something wrong here.
I spent like 1/10 of the amount on groceries as I did on Uber Eats.
That was like, my best. That was my best trade. I mean, I had a really good budget for the grocery store. But that was about it. Other than that,
because we were Uber eating all the fucking
Uber,
time.
I'll tell you, is gonna. I mean, Uber, if I look at my credit card statement, the last 10 things there are Uber.
Yeah. No, it's a problem. That's why I've really tried to get away, from all that. But so this morning, so I've been listening to this new book. So that guy was like, reading is mostly a waste of time. And I was like, I was kind of triggered by that. So I read it, and he has a point. There's a lot of really poorly written books out there. There just are. Like, I know there's this whole method of like to write a good book, and people like, chip away at that for years, like Shawshank Redemption and shit. But then there's also just a lot of like really shitty books out there.
There's crap. It's really just because like, and then they can say I wrote a book.
I mean, there's definitely like, I'm doing this like conference thing where it's like, oh my God, you want me to write a book or something? Because I just want to hear what they have to say about it. At the same time, like Angel Rich, like Forbes magazine is calling her the next Bill Gates, and she's like a young black woman from Kingman Park, DC, gang,
gang, what up?
And she wrote a book called The History of the Black Dollar that was like incredibly informative. It just really solidified my disgust for white people. Sorry, we are horrible. But it's just like the book breaks down like significant stories of like or like historic fucking captions of when black people amassed great amounts of wealth in this country, and white people literally just came in and like burned the fucking banks, and like it's just countless, like Tulsa, Black Wall Street, like there's just so many. Like the first millionaire on record was a black woman, not the first woman millionaire, not the first black millionaire, but the very first millionaire on record in the United States was a black woman. Right? Like, fun fact. Like, that book was very informative, very informative. And when she wrote that book, because she was raising money for her company, and she was like, I didn't want them to evaluate my company when it was small, because then they could give me like 10 grand for like 50% or 1% of my company. Right. But I knew it was going to be a $10 million company. She's like, I wasn't about to give them that money. So she's like, I stayed up every night between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. and I wrote a book. And she did it in like 45 days. And she wrote a book, and she made like 30 grand on it last month on Amazon.
Yo, let's get her on the podcast.
I know. She actually had like an injury recently, but she's going to come on the show. But like, writing a book could be relative, right? But this guy was saying like, you're really wasting your time with a lot of it. And I'm like, well, I guess there's some truth to that. But like at the same time, like, I don't know, And so one of the
books are legacy. That's what they are.
Yeah.
They're legacy. So like, for example, like if you have something that a brain dump of things, it's knowledge is power, right? So it's legacy. And sometimes, you know what? Some of those bad books are out there, but that guy, whoever, girl or woman, whatever, thinks that is their, like that is, it's the scribe. But that's where I do like books. I mean, books are history. That's what our world was actually based on, is all books.
Right.
So they are important.
Read
books, guys.
Read books. Like Bomani Arma would say,
reading
a motherfucking book.
Reading is fun.
Reading is important. Reading is fundamental. But like, but you know what I think we could probably do less of is reading on the fucking internet, and like pick up a book instead.
Like, I love books. I love the highlighting, writing and stuff. Nothing like a good book.
I used to
not
read
even on the iPad. Like, no.
Yeah, no, I got a Kindle, and I had a hard time like getting into that. And I used to read a lot when I was a kid. I used to read like voraciously, if you will. Like I was really into
bookworm.
Books. I was a super nerd. I was like in advanced classes and shit because I read so much. I would read whatever my brothers and sisters were reading in high school. I would read just for fun.
I was in the slower classes, those.
Yeah, but look at us now. You know what I mean? It's like we've changed places. But yeah, man. So one of the books that this guy who said reading isn't always great recommended is the Successful Leader. Hold on, let me pull it up. I can tell you what it is. The Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill. And so I started reading that, and basically it was just pretty interesting. And he was talking about the mastermind and how like when people come together, their like brains interact, and how you can like exchange information like without speaking. And it sounds a little crazy, but he's just talking about how like the Chicago Six. Are you familiar with the Chicago Six?
Sounds familiar.
Okay, so the Chicago Six was like Wrigley's, like it was like 7. It was actually 7 businessmen, I think, or maybe it was 5, but then 2 of them were partners. So it was like, I guess 6 of them, and they called themselves the Chicago 6, and they were all like wealthy businessmen, like they were all like successful in different industries, and they would meet up like once a month and just like talk it up, almost like their first like a board of directors.
Is that the OG? Is it the OG mastermind groups? Because everyone's doing it these days. You know, like in my mastermind group, you know, we just met like that. Like
right,
is it like
it's
that?
like people trying to like duplicate that, right? But like these guys would just meet up and like chop it up, and like there was no formal partnership except for the 2 guys that were in a business together. Everything else was off the record, and they claim all of their success to like being able to meet up with like-minded people and share those ideas and that energy.
It's all about collaboration. You know, you have to work together in order to achieve what you want. That doesn't take one. I mean, it really doesn't. Right. And also it goes back to even, I think sports is so interesting. The team, you know, the coach and the team and the pack. Like it takes a pack in order to succeed.
Totally.
Right? And if you're trying to do that alone, you're going to fail.
Absolutely.
So
it's just interesting, you know. It's just a lot floating around in my brain today, you know.
Yeah, you woke up with a lot. I didn't even know that. I haven't finished my first cup of coffee.
I know. I'm ready to fucking get it, man. Like I've got a lot on my mind. Well, you know, going through all that shit, really,
course.
you know. Like I said, if I'm not willing to die this way, I'm not willing to live this way, man. And like that's a statement that shouldn't just resonate with me when I'm like being tested for cancer. That needs to like live, and that needs to stay. And yeah, man. So it's like.
That's the most important thing, because people will say stuff. It's you got to commit, you know, and always go back to that feeling and have that feeling drive you. People grow. Pain is one of the best things that you can experience in life, because that's drive. That drives you. If you just kind of cruise throughout life without any pain,
right? You have no idea. You don't get it.
Yeah,
you don't get it.
You don't get it.
Well, Jen, I think that, you know, we're at 30 minutes, if you can believe that. That happened pretty quickly. And we don't want to, like, give up all our goodies on a Tuesday morning. You know, we got to leave them something for tomorrow.
Yeah, got to leave them teasing, leave them hanging.
You know?
What's next? What's tomorrow's topic?
I don't know. Maybe you'll be inspired to read some books.
Well, no, I'm definitely going to probably read, because I think that's a good idea. And then this way, I already told people, you know, people who are watching, or at least you, accountability, that we're going to read a book.
Right, exactly.
And we're going to talk about it next week.
And we'll
do a live book review.
Maybe every Monday we
that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a book every week. How long are we thinking?
Hey, man. I mean, we could at least, you know, discuss parts of the same book. Maybe we should read the same book, and then we can argue about it.
No, we should watch. No, it's going to be book club.
Okay. I'm a little slow learner sometimes. But yeah. No, this is great, because then, you know, we can argue about it, about Gary Vee and Grant Cardone. They're both so obnoxious. It's so unfortunate that I'm on the side of, like, defending them, because I don't really like them either, right? But it's like we were talking this weekend. It's like the 48 Laws of Power and the 26 Laws of Seduction or whatever, and... You know, like I read those books, like just so I would know when somebody was doing that shit to me, not because I want to go manipulate people, but I just want to be more aware that things like that happen.
Well, you want to know when you're getting manipulated, so then you can be like, "Sit down, soldier."
Yeah, I read about this. Not today.
Not today.
But Marty.
Morning.
But yeah, so yeah, man. So awesome morning. I know we both got a bunch of shit to do. Thank you guys if you're tuning in at all. You know, if you want to come join us some morning, you can do that.
We're out in the Mindspace, Hardcast Media HQ.
That's right. Shout out to Influencer Collective and Hardcast Media. By the way, we announced our Podcast 201 event.
Next Monday.
For next Monday,
6 p.m.
That's right. And so it's all about marketing and monetization of your podcast. So if you already have a podcast, but you're not like really, you know, if you're not, if the juice ain't worth the squeeze, come see me and Jen, and maybe we can give you some helpful tips, hints, and information.
There'll be some snacks, you know.
Light refreshments. I sound like such a flyer. Light refreshments will be served in the atrium. But anyhow, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a great morning. Jen, you want to sign off with a joke?
No, I'm not. Morty.
All right, y'all. Have a great day. We will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.
Peace out.